What's up, everybody? Well, I've got another Asus Ally X gameplay video for you guys today. Well, not really a gameplay video, but we're going to do some gameplay. But this is also going to be just a closer look at it, comparing it to the other systems. I did that ever so slightly in the unboxing video, but that unboxing video sucked. The stupid video got all corrupted, so now it's got a bunch of RGB lines in it. But I have figured out why that happened finally. I used to think, since I'm a noob with these cameras and whatnot, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. Anytime I gotta do anything, I have to go look up a YouTube tutorial. But anyway, so I used to think those little RGB bands I would get was because of it did not have enough light. Because this never happened with my old DJI little camera. So I tried, hey you wake up. So I tried to make that work same way I did with my old camera, and it just wasn't having it. Like once I got my my Panasonic GH6, I started noticing every once in a while I'd get some of those RGB bands. But then when I got this new one, and on the old camera, it seemed like adding more light just so happened to fix it. But now I know that must just have been a coincidence. It has nothing to do with the light whatsoever. But anyway, so long story short, I get my new GH7 since my old camera was acting up and telling me to turn it off and on a bunch of times sometimes unless I give it a couple light taps. I was like, all right, that thing's probably about toast. Maybe I can have it fixed, maybe not. Anyway, time for a new one. So I bought this one, figured, okay, well, let's set it up the same way. But then there was one setting in the video recording setting, I was like, oh, it's the same as mine, but it's got 10-bit instead of 8-bit. So it turned into a 10-bit video. Well, I guess the free version of DaVinci does not like 10-bit video, for free anyway. So I pretty much had to upgrade to the studio version for 300 bucks, but I guess expensive camera needs expensive video editing software. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. A little annoying since I don't make any money off of YouTube. I'm just doing this for fun, but I don't want to keep giving you guys a bunch of RGB garbage. Nobody's going to like that. In fact, a lot of people would probably start unsubscribing if all of my videos were just RGB nonsense, where nobody can even tell what the hell is going on, you know? Anyway, though, so we got that under control now. That should not happen anymore. And I got the nice bonus of being able to use my 4090 to actually encode the video now. I used to have to use my 13900 KF, and that'd take like, depending on the video, like my usual video is probably 15-20 minutes. But if I did one of my unboxing videos that can go on for like, 20, 30, 40 minutes sometimes, or my like videos where I show people how to install RAM or something like that, those are usually like 40 minutes. Those would take like an hour. Now I can get that shit done in like under 10 minutes, like almost every time. I think like the 40-minute ones take like 11 minutes now. Anyway though, sorry for the long intro, but I just want to explain to you what happened and why some of the videos have some of that weird RGB crap going on. So there's a couple videos that I did because I didn't notice that was happening. So I think it's like 3, 4, maybe 5 videos that might have that shit going on in them. I do apologize for that, but now it should not happen anymore. So now we can just kind of almost redo that video, except for the box opening part. We can just take a closer look at this guy. We'll compare it to the other handhelds, and then we'll even try playing some of the 3 same games. And you can compare how they all run on each individual one. And we'll run a benchmark before on each one too. Because I believe somebody told me I could go, hey, go to offline mode and then I can play games on all 3 at once. I just won't be able to save my saves and all that because I'll be offline, but that doesn't matter. But anyway, let's actually go get started with the video. This is probably my longest intro ever. Well, not really intro. Intro was like 5 seconds. It was just mostly explaining what the hell happened and why half my videos sucked for the past couple of times. But anyway, let's go get started with the actual video now. Alright, so first to get started with, let's just take a closer look at the thing. So here is the thing in all of its glory. Now, it doesn't really look too different from the white old school version, other than obviously it's black. But there are some small differences. First off, they gave us a new D-pad. So that's pretty cool. I don't remember hitting any of those buttons. Anyway, and then we've got some slightly nicer feeling triggers. They feel more grippy, and they definitely feel like nicer to move around. Although that might just be because I've used my other one so much that I put one of those grooves. My other one actually was rubbing off its stick into the RGB, so you could, like, if you put the stick down, you'd see a bunch of black chunk kind of down into the RGB thing, so that was kind of lame. Other than that, though, it pretty much looks 100% identical to the original, at least on the surface. Now, if we go up here, things actually look quite a bit different. So the fan vents are obviously in the same spot as they were, but now we've got 2 USB 4 ports, and you can now use whatever external GPU you want, although now if you have one of those old XG docks, you can't use it. Those actually have more bandwidth than these do, but you're not limited to just their overpriced thing anymore. Now you can use whatever external GPU you want. So besides that, we've got our little power light, and then we've got like another light here. I believe one's that's the battery light. That'll come on when you're charging. You got your volume rocker, you got some ventilation right there. They moved that guy a little bit, but apparently heat wasn't the cause of that, so they say. I'm not sure I fully believe that, but hey, as long as they fixed it, that's all I honestly care about in the end. I couldn't really care less why it did it, as long as it's fixed. Then you got your 3.5mm headphone jack. Then you got your power button, which is more recessed than the other one, and it definitely feels like they improved the sensor too, because now I can actually unlock it with my finger like all the time. Maybe I just didn't set the other one up properly, I'm not sure, but there's that. And then these buttons are slightly reworked, so they're easier to grab hold of when you're just playing. And then these guys are a lot longer too, your top triggers, compared to the other one. You'll see that once we actually put them side by side. So that's pretty much that for that part. Now if we flip her on to the back is very similar, but still a little different. We've got much nicer grips, so now it actually feels comfortable to hold. They did make the little buttons on the back smaller, but I never used those myself personally, so that's a moot point for me. You've got the same little fake chrome strip going down. They make it look like it's RGB, but it's not. It's just light reflecting. And then you've got your intakes. They seem to make a little bit bigger, but they still have the cool little Asus design, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. I feel like it would be cooler if they just did both sides like that and give even more cooling, but maybe they designed it that way and it doesn't really affect cooling at all. And if that's the case, who cares? You gotta have a little branding on your stuff after all. Hey, you, wake up. I know when those go off, it's about ready to go to sleep. So, now, why don't we go real quick and compare it to the other two handhelds. So first, let's compare it to its little brother. I think that's only fair. So, I'm sure you guys can, well, maybe you can't tell from this angle, but this guy is obviously a lot thicker. Well, not a lot thicker, but a little thicker. Like if I put my finger there, it's like a millimeter or two, I would say, just guesstimating. As you can tell now, the D-pad is much better. This D-pad, I never really liked this one personally. But you can also tell that they revamped these. These have a bigger dome and not a lot of grips around them, really. And then besides that, that's about that for the front. There's, like I said, there's not that different. They kept these exactly the same. They feel like they're a full-size button, which is pretty nice. But anyway, so now if we get them up like this is where most of the differences are. Get both of them up into the actual shot, and you guys can actually see the differences. So, as I said, obviously the triggers have gotten a lot bigger and more comfortable. They've completely made these a little bigger. I was going to say completely redesigned them, but they didn't redesign them completely. Well, I guess if you look at them side by side, this does look quite a bit different. So I guess you could say that. I guess I shouldn't get stuck on semantics, huh? But anyway, so there you go. You got your power button next. That one sticks out a lot more. This one's more recessed. So at first I was like, where the hell was it when I was trying to turn it on for the first time? They completely moved the SD card to a completely new area. They surprisingly got a little further away from the heat, but still sort of close. If they were completely redesigning it, they probably would have put it on the bottom to get it completely away from that if heat really was the problem. So maybe heat really wasn't the problem after all. Then, as you can tell, you don't have this big HG mobile port anymore. Instead, you've got ventilation. And then they even moved the volume rocker. The volume rocker is over here next to the power button. Same thing with the power light and the battery light. On this one, they moved them over here. And then you've got your 3.5mm headphone jack all the way over here now. So things are quite a bit different up here, like I said. And then you've got 2 ports up here instead of just 1. So pretty damn cool. So now let's try to gently put them on their backs so we can check out the backs now. I don't have a lot of room on this table, unfortunately, so I'm trying not to drop my stuff on the floor. So now you can see the backs. They have a lot more ventilation now. Might be hard to see because this one's all black, but it has way more ventilation here than this one does. This looks exactly carbon copy, size-wise. And then, as I said, these guys are tiny little baby guys compared to these guys. So, and then you can compare the grips. As you can see, there was almost nothing to even hold on to, which was fine if you were holding it like this, just sitting, playing a game like this. But the second I tried to sit in bed, I kind of had to cut my hands around it like that, and it just felt really uncomfortable. So I can already tell with this new one, I don't really have to do that anymore. It just fits in my hand a lot more like a freaking console. I can just hold it just like this now, just like I would the Steam Deck. So that feels so much more comfortable. And I can tell even if I held it like that, I wouldn't have to, you know, try to make a table out of my hands for it. So that's pretty much that versus its older brother. The screens are, its older brother. Its screens are pretty much the exact same screen. Nothing has changed whatsoever. The speakers are supposedly upgraded a little bit, but from what I've heard, they sound pretty similar. But when we do the actual like super comparison video where we go and show like speakers versus speakers and mics versus mics, I'm going to do that video separately because that one's going to be a long one, just like it was last time, but people seem to like those ones. So now why don't we go and compare it to the Steam Deck OLED? Alright, let's take a gander at the Steam Deck OLED versus the Ally X now. So as you can plainly see, the Steam Deck is just a little bit wider almost, but only just like a micrometer at that. They're pretty damn similar now when I put my hands hand in hand, but this guy's still just a hair bit wider. And then as you can tell, this one obviously has an OLED screen versus an IPS, so this one's obviously going to be brighter and more colorful and whatnot, but it's 900p. Actually, no, it's not even 900p. It's only 720p now I think about it. This guy's 1080p. So definitely a little crisper, but from my testing, unless you have them side by side, it's not that big of a difference, really. However, you can see more stuff at 1080p, so you're gonna see more, but 1080p is harder to run. So you might have to tone settings down, which for me defeats the purpose of 1080p in the first place. When I have higher resolutions, I want to be able to have some eye candy to go along with it. I don't want to have to turn stuff down just to have a higher resolution, if that makes sense. I'd rather play at 720p medium and high, you know, getting 30 FPS, than go to 1080p and have to put everything on low and then struggle to get 30 FPS. Or even if I can get like 40 to 50, I don't want it to look like garbage if I don't have to, you know? But anyway, so they're obviously quite a bit different setups here. This guy's got trackpads, this guy doesn't. This guy's D-pad's all the way up here versus being right here. Even the buttons are slightly more laid out. All of these guys are conglomerated all up here into 4. This one's got your 2 up here, but then you've also got 2 more down here. You got your speaker grills right there. This thing's still got really nice speakers, but this thing still has way nicer speakers. So far, Asus has done the best speakers out of any handheld I've seen so far. I'm sure there's probably some out there that are better. So I already know somebody's going to correct me and think, well, actually, well, I know. There's probably some better. There's always something better. But from what I've heard, these are the best. So, obviously, this is a 7-inch screen, and this is a 7.4-inch screen. So, this one looks a little bigger, but in reality, I mean, it's not much bigger. And that's still a higher resolution. So, smaller screen and high resolutions means more pixels per inch for those that care about it. So, that's why text and everything will always look crisper on there. Plus, OLED has never been great with text, I've noticed. Unless you've got like a phone OLED. Because those have such ridiculously high pixels per inch and scalers and all that shit that pretties everything up. It makes everything look extra crispy. And then you've also got a little different setup for your actual joysticks. These guys are just side by side like a PlayStation, which I kind of like that. I don't mind this way. It's not like it bothers me, but I just find this a little more comfortable. In fact, this is still the most comfortable little handheld to hold, in my opinion anyway. But I do have these giant gargantuan hands, so. And I'm not even that tall. I'm only 5'8". I have big feet and big hands. Anyway, though, you don't go to sleep on me. Let's have a quick look at the tops just to compare them real quick. There's a lot more going on the Ally, though. So, the Steam Deck only has one big old vent and one fan. It's very similar to how the Switch works. It just draws air from the bottom vent and blows the cool air over the heatsink and out the top. Versus 2 little fans on the Ally there. Now, I don't know which one's going to be louder. We'll definitely do that in the full like versus video. See which one's louder and all that good stuff. Which one gets better temps. Then you got your volume rockers on this guy up here, your little headphone jack. Then you've got your power right there, and then your power button. And that's all you really got. Oh, and then a little indicator LED. And that's really all you have on the Steam Deck. Then you've got your triggers, which are nice, but I'd still say I like these better. These definitely feel a lot nicer on the Ally than they do on the Steam Deck. That's just my opinion. I'm sure other people think the complete opposite, and that's totally cool. These are just my opinions here. None of these are like, unless I say it's not an objective fact, you know? But some things are, like this just is more powerful. So that would be an objective fact. Anyway, so then you've got your SD card up here. Again, your headphone here, your power and fingerprint scanner, some ventilation, volume rocker, 2 USB ports, and then you got your battery and power indicator, as well as your vents. So now we can turn them both over ever so carefully. Take a quick look at the back. Wish I had a little bit more room up here. I should just move my Alienware laptop out of the way, but I don't want to move that thing more than I have to. It seems like anytime I touch the damn thing, it wants to do some more nonsense. Well, that's not really the cause of it, but anyway. So here's the back. You've got your tiny little baby buttons on the back there, and then you got 4 pretty decent sized ones, but I don't use those on either one. I mean, on my other Ally, I would use it every once in a while to make this keyboard pop up, but I haven't really had a problem with that in this one, so I don't even know if I'll set that up on this. And then I'd also use it to get the task manager to come up, since I can't, you know, do the Control-Shift-Escape. I don't have that key, so I'd rather just hit one button. That's even easier, you know? But you got your small little ventilation there, you got your bigger ventilation here, but this guy's got a much smaller little thing. I believe its CPU is somewhere right around here. So it just draws the air up there, goes up here, and poof, this guy sucks in a bunch of air and and then it even uses a little bit of air for the SSD. Maybe that's why this thing can actually download at like 80 megabytes a second, where my other one, after a little while, seems to throttle like crazy. And even stop downloading, go to 0, go bounce back to like 20, and then go back to 0. And then up to 50, and then down to 0. And then this guy, for some reason, will only download at like 35, even if I'm doing a network transfer. Even though I can go download something off of the internet, for example, and it would go at like 50, 60. Or if I used, what do they got? Ubisoft Plus or something. If I download a game on there on the Steam Deck, that goes at like 70 to 80, just like this guy. So I don't know what Steam hates about its own product, but that always annoyed me. But I still think that's just some kerfuffle. I don't think that even happens ever. I think that's mostly just a me problem. Anyway, though, so now that we've got that out of the way, why don't we go and play a couple games on each of them, and you can just compare how they all run. I kind of did that last time. I thought that was pretty fun, so let's do it again. Alright, so basic plan here is we're going to run 3 games that I generally play on anything when I get it. So we're going to start off with something really light and easy, like Alex Jones' NWO Wars. So if it can play a game like this, good. It'll play most games that have graphics like this at about the same performance. Of course, there are always outliers, but in any case, then after this, we will move on to American Truck Simulator. I haven't played that one in a while, but I used to play that one like religiously before bed, but now I've been basically staying up playing games on my TV PC, basically all the way until it's time for sleep, so haven't been playing that one as much. And then we'll finish it off with something decently hard to run, like Cyberpunk. So, let's start with this one, so let's go hop in. Alright, before we hop into the game, I just wanted to show you guys the settings for anyone who was curious about what it was running. So we're running at full screen windowed. We're running at native resolution, 1280 by 800, so it's an 800 piece screen. I was wrong before. Thought it was 16 by 10. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of settings to this game, but now we can go hop into the actual game. Alright, here we go. Let's get ourselves a little gameplay here.
And turns you into a rainbow amphibian. Go. I'm here to save the people.
Nice, you have to use that in this. That's jump. Gotta remember how to play this one. I haven't played this one in a while. It was kind of one of those games where I beat it, and then pretty much got a decent high score on everything, and I haven't really been able to improve, so I kind of set it down. Didn't take long to win, but it was a really cheap game, so I didn't expect it to be super long. Oh yeah, that's right, you don't have to hold, you don't have to keep clicking. You just hold it down. You got me, you bastard.
Say hello to my little friend.
There we go.
Global warming is a hoax. The lottery is rigged. Say hello to my little friend. The answer to 1984 is 1776. Say hello to my little friend. I'm going to lower the world's population. I'm going to lower the world's population. I thought you did computers, libtard. you, my little friend.
And alright, I think that's plenty of gameplay for this game, so why don't we move on to the next game. Alright, here's the settings we're going to run. We're going to run native resolution, all that stuff. I'm just leaving VSync on for this. This isn't like a how well can it play the game test, it's just showing you how it plays the game. This is how I played the game when I was playing. So here's all the settings I finally decided on after playing for a while. I still can't get a constant 60, so I just deal with what it gives me. Luckily, it's not like a super fast-paced racing game, so I don't really need 60 in this kind of game. But anyway, let's go hop in the game and see how it plays. Alright, let's get started here. I'm just going to drive around a little bit. I don't have a trailer or anything. Is that a green light for me? Yeah. Then I go. Barely got through it, but... Okay, I do have turn signals. Let's turn around here. I thought I could go somewhere down that way, but nope. Wouldn't it be funny to just go hook up to one of those trailers and just book it? Man, it cannot be easy to drive these things. Barely got through it again. I'm going off the road because I went too fast. I'm only supposed to be going 30. Alright, well, if I'm just going to get stuck in traffic, screw that. We'll just move on to the next game. Alright, here's the settings we're going to go with. We're going to do window borderless, like the Steam Deck seems to like. We're going to do its native resolution. We got HDR on. And if we pop over to graphics, we're just on the Steam Deck preset. The only thing I did is I turned the 30 rate cap off, so we can see what it can do. Here's all the settings. And alright, and just so we can get some actual hard data here, let's go actually run the benchmark. Alright, so we averaged 47.26, our minimum was 38.23, and our max was 58.66. And then you got all your system info right here. I guess this thing uses 6 gigs of VRAM, that's a good spot when you got 6 gigs or 16 gigs of RAM total. Obviously, we're not really on Windows 10 Pro, it's just pretending to be, because this is on a Steam Deck. And yeah. And we were on balanced FSR, because that's just what it does, and no ray tracing. That's what the Steam Deck preset does. So now, why don't we go hop into the actual game and just run around for a little bit, just to see how it plays, and what the experience would be like. Alright, let's just run around for a little bit here. Now, normally I would play this with like a 40 FPS cap on it, but there are some times where it drops under 40, so if you never want it to drop, you can play it at 30, but I just couldn't do that, because a lot of the times it's in the 40s. But there are times where it drops. See, like 38. I must get across the road before I'm run over. Yeah, this game looks pretty damn good on the Steam Deck. Obviously it's not going to look as good as like my main computer with a 4090 at 4K. Well, I can't even do real 4K in this game. Not with ray tracing enabled. Heck, I don't even think without it I can do it. I think I need DLSS in this game no matter what. If I want to stay at 60 plus in this game. So, I think this thing does pretty damn good for itself. It's a mostly 40 plus experience.
Come on out, girl.
But, anyway, why don't we now go see how all the games run on the original Ally. And then we'll finish the video up with the actual main purpose, testing out these games on the Ally X. Alright, here's the settings we're going to go with for NW Wars on the Ally. Full screen, like I said, we're just going to keep everything at 720p just to keep it, you know, fair. Same desync on and all that stuff. So, now, let's go hop into the game. Alright,
By injecting
here we
you with
are in the
mRNA
game.
LGBTQ
Well, almost in the
tadpole
game.
technology vaccine that depletes your testosterone and turns you into a rainbow amphibian. Ready. Go. I'm here to save the beagles. Stop torturing puppets.
Huh, seems like it's only limited to 60 on here. That's weird. I know there's a 120 Hz screen, it should be 120 with desync on. Maybe that's just what it does on
Global warming is a
720p,
hoax.
who knows.
Say hello to Paul McCartney died 50 years ago.
That's one of my favorite ones. He gets so into that one.
911 was an inside job. It was a controlled demolition.
Nope.
Yowza! Machine gun. Say hello to my little friend. I'm going to lower the world's population. I'm going to lower the world's population. Stupid
Oh,
bitch.
yeah.
Death can't stop me.
Nope.
I thought you did computers, libtard. machine gun. Paul McCartney died 50 years ago.
Alright, let us move on to the next game. Alright, here's the settings for American Truck Simulator here. Tried to copy them exactly from the Steam Deck, so I think I did them right. And alright, now let's go hop into the game. Alright. Let's see how this ally handles this game. I'm going way too fast. These things without a trailer attached actually aren't that awful slow for what they are. Freaking things the size of a small little, like, house. Not really a house, but like a shed and a half. But so far this one seems to be doing a much better job at keeping it at 60. But there's still parts in this one too where it drops. Just depends on where you go. But if I can't go that way, it's a dead end. Okay, well then we'll just turn around. No biggie. Hopefully there's a spot to do that. Nope, went too fast. Damaged my truck. Been a while since I played this. Yeah, this one seems to be doing a much better job. Alright though, why don't we go and move on to some Cyberpunk now. Alright, so here's the settings we're going to run for Cyberpunk, same as the Steam Deck, full screen, 720p on this one instead of 800p. Graphics are Steam Deck settings. I just turned the 30 FPS cap off. Ooh, this one's a lot more touchy than the Steam Deck was. I can control the Steam Deck easily. This thing is like, okay. But anyway, here are the settings. So now why don't we run a quick benchmark. I also noticed that the little RGB strips just randomly shut off on me and didn't come back. So I don't know what's up with that, but it's done that a couple of times here and there. Probably about 6 times since I've had the thing. So kind of funny that it decided to do that while I was making the video, but hey, it happens. It's not like that actually affects the gameplay at all anyway. And in fact, you'll get a mini-skill mountain wide battery life without those on. So anyway, let's go run a benchmark, shall we? Hey, look at that. The RGB came back on randomly when I went to go turn the little frame rate counter and make it smaller. But anyway, so we averaged 67. Oh, 0.88. I should finish my sentence there. I got distracted. I heard noises. But Misty's sleeping, so I don't know what the hell that was. But anyway, we got a minimum of 55.01 and then a max of 88.62. So not bad. And here's the settings I used. On this one too, I just used 6 gigs. Now on the other one, I'm going to set that up as 8, which I still have to do before I start making the gameplay videos, so. And then besides that, there's the rest of the settings, exactly as they were for the Steam Deck. And yep, in this particular game, when you let them hit their max wattages, this thing creams it. But, for how long can it play? That's the question. But now, why don't we go hop into the game and just get a little gameplay? Alright, here we are in the game. So let's just run around a little bit and see what kind of frame rates we get. And so far for me personally, since I like 60 FPS, this is already infinitely better. And the screen still looks good. It's not as nice as the OLED screen for the colors popping and the HDR and all that, but it's not like this IPS screen sucks. It's still a very nice screen. And I think the variable refresh rate makes up for the fact that it's not OLED. That helps in the smoothness department for sure.
Well, I'll be damned.
You will be damned. Now, I like how my new camera, at least so far, I hope I don't jinx it, it doesn't seem to have flickering problems with stuff like my old one did.
Trust me.
But it did make me have to go and buy the studio version of DaVinci. I found out what was making that RGB strips was DaVinci all along. In fact, it should have been doing it to me before, because I'm pretty sure my old camera was 10-bit, now that I think about it. But it very rarely did it. In fact, it only seemed to do it in dark situations, like if I didn't have enough light. But that wasn't the case with this one. It did it like all the time, no matter what, almost. And I was like, okay, that makes my videos look like absolute donkey shit. So, we need to figure that out. So I figured that out, luckily, finally. And I got the bonus of being able to get my videos done in like, they can code in like under 10 minutes. They're usually like 5 to 7 minutes now, when it used to take 30 to 40 minutes. So that's pretty dope. And you do at least get 2 licenses for that $300, so you can use it on 2 computers. I put it on my laptop, but right now AMD's drivers finally decided to screw me over on everything AMD related. Right now DaVinci just crashes whenever you try to do anything. Other than the, what do you call it? The Relive not working during a driver update. That's about the worst thing that happened to me up until now, but yeah, if that was my only system and I tried to make videos, I'd be screwed right now. So that definitely would put a pretty sour taste in my mouth, but at least I'm honest. Definitely this is the first time I've had some AMD drivers that definitely fuck my shit up. Usually I have like very little problems with AMD. But anyway, I think that's more than good enough. Why don't we now go and see how the Ally X handles all of this. Alright, here's the settings we're going to run in this game. 720p, we got VSync active just like we did before. We're on full screen window mode this time. I got the, if you do that, it lets you do the 120 at 720. On the rest of the resolutions, it lets you use 120 full screen, but not in this way, so we're going to change that up. That shouldn't affect FPS too much, though, other than the fact that it lets me use 120 versus 60. Obviously, it's going to affect that, but anyway. Why don't we go hop into the game and see how it does. Alright, here we are in the game.
Tadpole technology vaccine that depletes your testosterone and turns you into a rainbow amphibian.
Okay, yeah, these speakers do sound a little better.
Go! I'm here to save the
More
beagles.
full sound.
Stop torturing others.
The other ones might be a smidgen louder. I'd say these have better quality. The loudness might even be the same. I'd have to have one of those devices to let me know for sure.
Woo! Death can't stop. Say hello to my little friend. Woo! Paul McCartney died 50 years ago. Machine gun. Caramel Vitality activated! Machine gun. I'm going to lower the world's population. I'm going to lower the world's population. I thought you did computers, libtard. Say hello to my little friend. The moon landing was a hoax. They're turning the friggin' frogs gay. 911 was an inside job. It was a controlled demolition. Say hello to my little friend. The answer to 1984 is 1776.
Alright, why don't we now move on to the next game? Alright, so here's the settings we're gonna run for American Truck Simulator, 720p, default refresh rate, pretty much all the same settings we did on the Steam Deck and the Ally. I think I got them dead set the exact same. I might have one or two mixed up, hopefully not. I still have to hit apply, but I'll go hit apply and then we'll hop into the game. Alright, let's drive this truck. There we go. If I get on the freeway, I should be able to go any old way. Oh. Last minute decision. Couldn't quite make the turn there. There we go. Oh yeah, I'm only allowed to go 55. And my dude's getting sleepy. But in any case, why don't we now move on to the next game? Alright, so here's the settings we're going to run, just like on the others. We're going to use the Steam Deck settings at 720p. This is not an HDR screen, so we can't turn that on. And we're on the Steam Deck settings, but then I did customize a couple of things. think I turned one thing off that I didn't want. Where did it go? Oh, nope, it didn't. Here we go. Alright, now let's go and run ourselves a bench. Now, keep in mind, at 720p, it might not really make that much of a difference for like RAM bump and all that stuff. I think that makes more of a difference at 1080p, and I think it's usually a 3 to 8 FPS difference, so it's not like the night and day difference, but hey, that 3 to 5 to 8 can be the difference between 60 and not, so that's A-okay with me. Alright, here's the results. We got an average of 67.25, which I believe is a little bit faster than the old one. I think the old one got 64. Our minimum is 54.68, which I believe was 47 point something on the original Ally. And our max is 85.84, which I think the other one was like 72 or something like that. But in any case, why don't we now hop into the actual game and see how it plays. The benchmark sure looked a hell of a lot smoother than the other guy. The other Ally and the Steam Deck. But let's go find out. Alright, let's get ourselves some gameplay here.
Trust me. And I tell you, no! The Arasakas are no ordinary. They're not even human. Never heard shit that gunk before. What was that?
Me. Oh, you don't even have any guns? Well, that sucks for you.
You don't want to fuck with me. And I tell you, no! The Arasakas are no why they had to make They're not even human.
And obviously I'm running around in different spots too, so you can't really use this as an apples to apples. The other one might have appeared to get better FPS, but we didn't go into a big old like conglomerate full of people on that device. We were more out here, where we're in the 60s, high 50s to 60s most of the time. So, it doesn't really seem to make much of a difference in actual gameplay. Though I will say it's probably just a hint smoother. Less little stutters. And you got that variable refresher screen, so that's nice. It's absolutely crazy that you can play this game in the palm of your hand like this. Obviously, again, it's not as crazy as like playing it on a maxed out desktop, but considering you can play something this graphic intensive in your hand, palm of your hand, and have it be more than playable is pretty awesome in my opinion. Still costs quite a bit to do so, but if you don't want something that costs a lot, you gotta go with a Nintendo solution. And that thing is quite a bit weaker. And even when the new one comes out, it's gonna be quite a bit behind these guys. Though it will be priced a hell of a lot better, and it'll be a million times better than the old Switch. So, bring it here as soon as possible, I always say. I don't even really use my Switch anymore, so I probably won't even get one. Or maybe I will in case people want to see gameplay on it and how it compares to this stuff. So I still might get one depending on what my subs want. But in any case, I think that's more than enough gameplay. So why don't we now go ahead and go wrap this video on up? Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for this video. And it definitely seems like a very nice device. A very worthy little mini upgrade. It's not like the next Ally 2, so I wasn't expecting it to be a big performance jump or anything, but it's definitely got a nice little performance jump still, considering, you know, it's the same CPU and everything. It just got a RAM speed bump. But these APUs run off of RAM speed since they share, so the faster your RAM, the faster your GPU will be. Unless you make it so fast that your CPU bottlenecks it, but the CPUs in these really aren't that slow. In fact, I think I tested it before, and I think they're actually faster than my old Asus G15 Advantage. Definitely in single core. Multi-core might be a tie, or the Asus might barely edge it out, but using like 3 times the power. Well, not quite 3 times, that would be like 130 watts. That would be way too much. But it still uses like, I think like 60 watts or something like that, versus like a maximum of 35 on these if you haven't plugged into the wall, and 25. At least 25 on that one. I think this one's also 25 on turbo. Speaking of which, you don't go to sleep on me yet. And that one's just 15 for the Steam Deck. But very, very nice device. Very, very happy to have it, and excited to make some more actual gameplay videos on it. Which, anytime I do Ally gameplay videos, I'm just going to use that. The other guy's pretty much going to get retired like the original Steam Deck, unless I pull it out to make a video on. But just like what happened before, there was really no point in trying to sell the old Steam Deck. It was worth almost nothing, just like the original Ally is, so I'm not just going to sell that for like 200 bucks. It's not worth it to me. I'd rather just keep it for that. But that is all I got for you guys for this particular video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And of course, if you guys have anything you want me to see play on any of these devices, just let me know. And if I've got the game, I will. Or if you want to see some other kind of test with them, just let me know. And if I have the ability to do it, I'll do it. So until the next video, peace out, guys.